Hello, the learning theory I will be presenting on today is constructivism. Today's presentation, I will be discussing the strengths and limitations of constructivism, the application of constructivism in a classroom setting, tying in with my personal beliefs and pedagogy surrounding the theory. What is constructivism and how does it link to my own personal beliefs? In my own words, which are supported by Ahrens in 1998, the theory itself is very personal. Students are constructing their own ideas through experience and prior knowledge to create meaning and in turn understanding the new information. The reason why I chose constructivism is because it's based on student-centered learning. There are two main forms that help define constructivism. Each of these I can relate to my own personal beliefs on learning. Psychological constructivism, which was developed by Piaget. I believe all students learn and retain information differently and that students need to construct the knowledge in their head and draw from prior knowledge to develop an understanding of the new information. And social constructivism, which was developed by Vygotsky. I believe students working collaboratively with their peers, especially within a smaller group or a buddy system, is an important tool in learning. The strengths of constructivism. Learners are seen as not passive and shape their own way of learning. They are actively constructing the information in their own head. I believe when students make use of prior knowledge, it will create deeper meaning and be remembered. Dushan suggested a constructivist approach can create a space for more open-ended questions, concluding in deeper learning and engagement of the topic. It can create an open, friendlier, and engaging classroom. Borisfield in 1995 highlighted the fact that teachers facilitate the learning and that they are primarily seen as a guide. This approach will develop student skills in learning independently and cooperatively with their peers whilst developing their social skills. The limitations of constructivism. Dushan suggested that it takes significantly more time for the teacher to set up through trial and error. In some cases, if the teacher is not scaffolding the information to fit each student, it can take a significantly longer time for students to grasp the topic. It can mean that some students can go on tangents if not instructed exactly what to do and what is correct. It can be seen as too much responsibility for the learner, allowing students to determine when and how they learn. Learners can become passive if largely involved in group activities. According to Gupta in 2011, they may not feel confident enough to bring in their own ideas or argue points, which can result in students feeling ignored or alone, whereas the more vocal students take control of the classroom. A constructivist approach within the classroom. For instance, group activities, which incomes social constructivism. Encouraging students to work in pairs, pairing lower academic students with higher academic students. Now, this could be judged through pre-assessment. This ties in with Vygotsky's zone of proximal development and Bloom's taxonomy. As displayed in the image, the outer circle is the space signifying what the student has no prior knowledge or ability to do the task. The mid-circle indicates the space in which having a guide, having a peer that has higher academic or prior knowledge of the task can help. They can build some knowledge on the topic itself. And then the green circle, which is the zone of achieved development. Once they receive that scaffolding and some prior knowledge, they can now learn independently on the topic. Classroom behaviour management. The teacher creates a space with students, asking them what behaviour and consequences are suitable in the classroom. Brooks and Brooks in 1993 then explained the importance of an appropriate wait time between questions and answers, as it allows for the students to engage with thought-out, examined answers. An example of implementing this approach is having students on the first day creating posters of acceptable behaviours in the classroom. For example, respect and kindness. This idea was greatly supported by Tam in 2000. Problem solving. Integrating hands-on activities. As the students are working independently, the teacher is a guide. To become an effective guide, the teacher must ensure they have strong understanding of the topic to answer questions effectively. And as highlighted by Oliver in 2000, an understanding on each individual student's prior knowledge. Once the teacher has grasped these important concepts, they become a guide in the classroom. This in turn, which is what I've talked about a couple of times now, is the importance of scaffolding. According to Koppel and Bredekamp in 2009, an example of scaffolding techniques in the constructivist classroom is giving hints, demonstrations, And I guess the teacher or the guide needs to truly understand exactly what the task is at hand and their prior knowledge. Yeah. In conclusion, constructivism learning theory ties in with my own teaching pedagogy, which is a student-centered pedagogy, a pedagogy based on building positive relationships with student and peers, learning through meaning and doing, including students' interests and prior knowledge. A teacher I feel embodies a constructivist approach is Miss Honey from the film Matilda. Her approach was based on student-centered learning and a teacher that I aspire to become. I can see how the limitations of the theory can easily arise. As a teacher, the way in which you can combat these limitations is by realizing that you learn just as much as a student does, and by trying out different tactics and scaffolding the information to suit all of your students. This will create a safe and social learning environment, which will conclude in the strengths of the theory to dominate. After reflecting on my own teaching pedagogy, I felt that Hornbein, 1996, 7 Goals of Constructivism, i.e. students becoming more independent, self-motivated, self-aware, socially aware, and learning in a space that is positive and highly engaging, stayed true to my own ambitions of what my classroom will look like. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.